As the sun slowly disappeared behind the horizon of the Burkinabe savanna, an amber light flooded the plains, painting the sky with shades of red and gold. 3 off-road vehicles, forming a discreet convoy, kicked up clouds of dust on a remote track leading to Maun, the home village of Burkina Faso's interim president, Captain Ibrahim Traoré. Sitting in the middle car, Traoré, 34, was absent-mindedly reading documents about a rural development program. The project, which he was about to inaugurate, had been designed to support isolated communities without turning it into a media event. "We'll reach the village in about 20 minutes, Your Excellency," said Yusuf Diallo, his head of security, calmly. A former Special Forces soldier with broad shoulders and a piercing gaze, he was known for his unwavering loyalty. Traoré simply nodded. Unlike his predecessors, he shunned the spotlight, preferring action to grand statements. The purpose of this deliberately confidential trip was to launch a microcredit and agricultural training initiative away from Western eyes and the foreign influences he regularly criticized. His dream of a sovereign Burkina Faso, inherited from the thinking of Thomas Sankara, had struck a powerful chord with the younger generations. "Have the village elders been informed?" he asked, adjusting his red beret, which had become the emblem of his government. "According to your instructions, they think they are expecting an envoy from the ministry. Your true identity will be revealed when you arrive," confirmed Yusuf, scanning the surroundings. Traoré's quiet charisma, combined with his humble lifestyle, had galvanized public opinion. He symbolized the hope of a country finally in control of its own destiny. After several hours on the road, the convoy stopped near a small hamlet. The soldiers took the opportunity to stretch their legs. Yusuf, true to form, moved away to check the surroundings. His weapon was securely fastened to his belt. That was when his phone vibrated. An unknown number had just sent him a message. $5 million. Send us Traoré's exact location within 48 hours. Your offshore account is ready. A new life awaits you. Yusuf's face hardened. This wasn't the first attempt at bribery, but this time the offer was unprecedented. He immediately deleted the message. His mission, his promise, were worth more than any amount of money. At nightfall, the convoy arrived at its destination. The inhabitants, informed at the last minute of their visitor's true identity, welcomed Traoré with warmth and silent respect. The president spoke at length with the farmers, noting down everything they said in a notebook. He shared their simple, friendly meal. After making sure everything was secure, he retired to the hut that had been reserved for him. Yusuf, meanwhile, resumed his rounds around the perimeter. It was then that a second message appeared on his phone. It contained a photo. His younger sister, Eka, gagged, visibly terrified, with a newspaper on her lap. "She's in our hands. You have 24 hours. No discussion. Just say yes. Otherwise, she won't survive." Everything inside him faltered. Eka was all he had left since the death of their parents, victims of a jihadist attack. He had protected her, educated her, supported her in her studies. She had become a teacher, a pillar of their community. That night, lying in the shadows, unable to sleep, he was torn between two oaths, that of a brother and that of a soldier. He could see his sister's eyes mixed with Traoré's sleeping face. At dawn, his face drawn but his step firm, he entered the president's hut to carry out security checks. Traoré slept peacefully, unaware of the dilemma consuming his protector. "Will he forgive me if I fail?" he whispered, barely audibly. At noon, a new message arrived on his phone. "Last warning. 1 hour. Otherwise, you'll never see her again." Yusuf looked away. Traoré, at the back of the room, looked at him. Their eyes met. Yusuf realized that something had been detected. It was as if the president could read his mind. He walked away to a 100-year-old tree and composed a coded message to a trusted friend, Osman Kabor, a former brother in arms who had become an intelligence agent. "The eagle is threatened. The lion cub is in a cage. I need a way out." The reply came quickly. "Message received. Don't answer the phone. Stay connected. Instructions to follow." An hour later, Osman called back. The intelligence confirmed his fears. A group of mercenaries linked to mining interests and foreign services was seeking to overthrow the government. The plan was more than an attack, it was an operation to completely destabilize the country. They're going to eliminate Traoré. And your sister. There must be no witnesses. You have to buy time. At that moment, an unidentified drone appeared overhead. Yusuf immediately sounded the alarm. The president was taken to safety. Security was tightened. It's just a reconnaissance mission. We'll continue with the plan, Traoré said calmly. That evening, around the fire, he spoke of the figures of the African resistance. Then, fixing his gaze on Yusuf, he said, "Even the most loyal face trials. It's not the trial that counts, but how you respond to it." Yusuf decided to play along. "I accept. Show me recent proof of life. Transfer half. Then I'll give you the exact coordinates." At the same time, he informed Colonel Idraogo of the imminent threat, without mentioning Aka. A secret extraction was decided upon. At dawn, Traoré was discreetly evacuated, disguised, in an old vehicle. A double took his place. Yusuf gave the kidnappers false coordinates, leading them straight into an ambush. At 10:15 a.m., the mercenaries arrived. Well-equipped and methodical, they were surprised by the sudden response of the special forces. A shootout broke out. Yusuf, seeing a young soldier exposed, rushed to save him. He was wounded in the shoulder but continued to fire. When the last attacker fell, one of the survivors, who had been captured, whispered, "This president is a nuisance. This is only the beginning." Yusuf lost consciousness. 3 days later, Yusuf opened his eyes in a secure room at the military hospital in Ouagadougou. His shoulder, which had been shot through, had been treated. The bullet had missed any vital nerves, but a long recovery lay ahead. At his bedside, Ibrahim Traoré sat silently reading The Damned of the Earth, a book that the president often quoted in his speeches. "Don't talk yet? You've given enough," said Traoré, placing his hand on Yusuf's. A heavy silence fell, broken only by the regular beeping of the medical equipment. Finally, Yusuf, his voice hoarse, managed to whisper, "You knew?" The president nodded softly. "Our services intercepted the first messages. But I let you make your own choice. I had to know if I could trust you until the end." Overcome with emotion, Yusuf handed him a crumpled envelope. Inside was a letter of resignation. I thought about betraying you. Even though I didn't, I no longer deserve to be responsible for your safety." Traoré read the letter without saying a word, then tore it into small pieces and dropped them into the trash can. "Rejected. You are more valuable today than you were yesterday. Not because you are perfect, but because you faced the ultimate test. You didn't just save my life. You conquered the fear of losing what you love. And few men can do that." Over the following days, the intelligence services gradually revealed the extent of the plot. Data extracted from the seized devices exposed a vast network involving Western interests concerned about their economic privileges in West Africa. In the palace crisis room, Colonel Lomé declared before the president, "The instigators have been identified. It's a group combining mining interests, neo-colonial circles of influence, and foreign intelligence agencies. Their goal is clear: to weaken African governments that favor a sovereign policy." Traoré made an unexpected decision. Organize a global press conference. "We're going to reveal everything." Despite warnings from his ministers about the diplomatic and economic risks, he remained adamant. "It is not our silence that will save us. It is our choices. And Africa must make its own." The next day, in front of journalists from around the world, Traoré spent nearly an hour presenting the reality of the plot, backed up by documents and recordings. He did not name any countries, but the evidence spoke for itself. In his hospital room, Yusuf followed the speech, dreading the moment when his name would be mentioned. "Mr. President, one question. It seems that one of your associates has been approached. Why wasn't he dismissed?" asked a British reporter. The president replied without hesitation. "Loyalty does not mean the absence of temptation, but the refusal to give in to it." Captain Yusuf Diallo resisted, protected his family, and helped foil a plot. He is the embodiment of the best that Africa has to offer. This statement sparked a wave of emotion across the continent. Yusuf became a symbol. But true to his discreet nature, he refused all requests. He preferred to return to the shadows, training young recruits in presidential protection. At Traoré's suggestion, his sister Eka created a center to help victims of kidnapping and human trafficking. The center Ekadialo was inaugurated 3 years later. Sober, elegant, and funded solely by African donations, it became a model of solidarity and commitment. At the same time, Yusuf founded the Institute for Ethical Security, an institution designed to train agents who were aware of their moral responsibilities. The institute taught the art of close protection as well as the principles of justice, integrity, and resistance to corruption. One day, during an African Union summit, Traoré organized a special ceremony. In front of a huge crowd gathered at the renovated Palais de Sports in Ouagadougou, he called Yusuf onto the stage. Here is a man who, faced with the worst possible choice, betraying his nation or losing his sister, chose to sacrifice neither. He invented a third way, that of intelligence in the service of courage. A standing ovation filled the hall. Young people waved signs reading, "5 million? No thanks. Conscience has no price." But Yusuf, ever humble, refused any political office or personal honor. He preferred to continue his mission in the shadows, anonymously helping the most vulnerable. One day, in a working-class neighborhood, he sat down next to a young soldier in distress, faced with a request from his superiors to falsify reports. After listening to him, he simply said, "You always have a choice. Even when everything seems closed, choose the path that won't eat you up inside. The weight of regret is always heavier than that of courage." The young man did not know who was really speaking to him, but that moment would change his life. For more than medals, more than statues, Yusuf's true legacy lay in those silent gestures, those true words, those decisions made in the shadows, which, little by little, lit flames in the hearts of a generation.